Welcome to Reunite with Self podcast. I'm your host, Rukan. Here, we will be discovering and unraveling what is truly holding you back. We will put the puzzle together and give you clarity on how and what you can do to create massive shift in your life so you start creating the life you always envisioned for yourself. There is no more waiting. Whether it is liberating from dysfunctional family patterns or parenting tools and tips that actually make the difference, we will be diving into the truth and core of things that are simple and which yet no one talks about. I will be sharing with you all the things that would have changed my life massively if I heard any one of these episodes. A new world is awakening, and true bliss, harmony, and peace is possible on this earth. And my mission is to bring you closer to that, one step at a time. In this safe space, I will hold your hand and give you courage and certainty that you can shift anything and everything in your life. It is time we break the pattern. Whether you want to be the parent you never had or make a shift in your life so you don't play small any longer, you will find the support and guidance in this space. My intention is for you to find answers within yourself while you listen to this podcast, so you feel the bliss of reuniting with your true essence, with self, with so much love and compassion and courage. From my heart to yours, let's keep it rockin'. My gorgeous listener, welcome to another episode on Reunite with Self. I am so happy that you are here. This is going to be a wonderful series that we're doing. Maybe you've started listening to the series from step 1, but here we are. So we're talking about the 12-step journey of making anything happen in these series. So we're going to be walking through one step each week. And so we're at step 3 today. If you've listened to the first and the second steps, wonderful. If you have not, no worries. And it's so interesting that, I am a teacher. I can't say I'm a teacher, but I'm guiding you through the things that I need to learn the most. As they say, teacher is the one who needs to learn it the most. So I'm sure, interestingly, every week it's going to be divine timing for me as well. So let's get into this. I think today's episode is going to be shorter than most of the other ones. So if it's not going to blow it up for you, but step 1 is creating clarity. So we've created the clarity. Let's say we're walking through the journey. We've created the clarity on actually not just what we want to create or have or be, but also what had been stopping us from wherever we wanted to go or whatever we wanted to create. So creating the clarity on any narcissistic behavior in your family from any family members that still might be going on. And what has been playing in the subtitles is very important. So creating the clarity, I think that was like that was the longest episode, I believe, in these 12 series. I'm guessing, but the first step is always the most important. We can't play around with the other ones. Like there is no just one linear order to the other steps. But number 1, like step 1 is always going to be the most important, a must step. Like it's a non-negotiable to create your incredible life. This is what I have realized in my journey. We can take all the steps, we can take all the actions, but if we are doing it from a place of any limiting belief that did not even belong to us in the first place, it makes the difference. And I don't mean to say that you need to heal 100% or, it's not something that you get rid of. but it's something you become conscious of so that when you make the clarity, second step is making a decision. And when you make the decision, you create the healthy boundaries. And those healthy boundaries are going to be natural to you. And every time you have a challenging situation or anything that you feel resistance around, anything that you feel not good in your body, you are going to have your whys deep down because you have created your clarity. So you will be able to create those boundaries and be assertive in them because you created the clarity, because you now know what was going on, the ridiculousness, the absurdity of what you were being exposed to. The more ridiculous it gets, the more absurd it gets for you, the more clear you get on what's healthy and not healthy, or what's loving and what's narcissistic, or what's empowering and what's totally disempowering, or what's the truth and what's so out of whack, like out of alignment. The higher the contrast for you now is going to be easier for you to get back on track, because things will happen. Like, we cannot control what happens outside. And if there is a narcissistic pattern in our family from certain people, we're not expecting them to change. And it's been going on for a long time, and not just in your lifetime, but in your lineage. These things are so accommodated and enabled that I think it's even in our psyche, like, to enable it as we are babies. It becomes easier. But I know that we're going to be the cycle breakers. And it's not easy, but it's simple. It's very simple. Like, what's loving and what's not loving, it's actually so clear. And we're going to talk about this, but what I wish for you is really loving, healthy people around you that you surround yourself with. So when you tell your story, they're going to, you don't need this, but they're going to confirm you the absurdity of what was going on. Yeah, and it's a process. It's a process that sometimes some individuals, you see their narcissism faster, and then some other ones that might come out because you are being more yourself for the first time. You're not enabling it, and that creates resistance in them. And that's narcissists, or anyone with narcissistic traits. They do not want you to be yourself. Like, you being authentically yourself is the thing that triggers them. And depending on who that person is in your life, what your relationship is, there are different things that you can do. And it's different in every situation. So if you have any questions about this, I would be so happy to do an episode based on your story, like giving you a nickname to keep your confidentiality and privacy. And just after these 12 steps, so we have more, like 9 more weeks to go. But after that, I'd be so happy to do an episode based on your question, because that is what creates the difference. Like, that is the starting point to create your incredible life. What you have been preparing for, like your entire life, that is the point you actually start applying all these things in a way that will get you the results. Okay, so this is like a long intro as always. And so let's get into it. So step 1 was creating the clarity. Step 2 is making a decision. If you have not listened to them, please go back and listen for sure. But keep on listening to this. If you haven't, that's all good, because these things, you can always go back and listen to them. Like with divine timing, I'm sure they're going to give you a lot of solutions, create clarity for you, give you encouragement, and also help you find the solutions for whatever you're going through and give you ideas. So step 3 is, so you've created clarity, you've made a decision, and you've started your path. You made a decision about like where you want to go, how you want to do it, why you want to do it, how long you waited not doing it by like showing up fully as yourself, really like fully showing up for your life in every area of your life. And then once you start this process, step 3 is very important. You're going to be so what's the word? You're going to be excited. You might feel impatience, because the feeling is when you start fully showing up for your life, that was my experience, and it still is. I was, and I am still so thirsty to learn and implement. Your whole state changes, right? Because you started creating these healthy boundaries. You're living your life in a totally different way. You're surrounding yourself with different people. You're not exposing yourself to the disempowering BS. You're going to be so thirsty. You're going to be taking so many actions. You're going to be fully showing up for your life in a very different way. What I want you to remember, step 3, is, I wanted to talk about this because this was really important in the process. Life is about the process, and remembering this while you're doing it. So step 3 is, life is about the process, and remembering this in your journey. In this 12-step cycle. So it's going to be a cycle. We're not going to just like do it once or only one phase in our lives and forget about it. We're going to implement these again and again in different ways, in different areas, in different times. So remembering, once you start the journey, you might feel impatient. You might be going through something like this right now. Maybe that's like divine timing for you, or you will, or you did. I want you to remember that this is so divinely timed for me right now, because in an area of my life, in a section, whatever, of my life, it's like so crazy that I'm talking about this right now, but life is about the process, and we get to do the things that we are doing in the journey of self-actualization. Yes, we want to get the results. We want to see the results. We want to see the big change, the big results with the change. But it's very important that, I think, what happens is, because we are showing up differently in our lives, might be the reason. And I think that is the main reason we start seeing different results. Like there might be so many things that you need to do, let's say on a business venture, whatever you're doing. There are so many things, of course, to to do, to get done, to move forward with so many actions, so many needle moving, consistently doing the needle moving actions and tweaking and changing and doing again. But I think the reason, because I think universe works in this way. Once we start showing up fully as ourselves and feel like have the courage to create these healthy boundaries while it may be quite challenging and while it may be not the comfortable thing to do, and while it may be not the familiar thing to do, and while it may be in our story, it's not the easiest thing to do, or the common thing to do, or the norm, or, what others might accept or give confirmation to easily. They will. At the end, they will. But the moment that you decide to create change is the moment that it's challenging to, let's say, be assertive in that healthy boundary. It's not going to be like, this is so interesting. It's not going to be challenging or as challenging, or maybe not challenging at all. It's going to be very natural after you pass through that test. Like, it's not a test, but I'm sure you know what I mean. Like, the moment that you decide, you create the clarity, you make a decision, that moment when you make that decision is when it seems that's how you think, because that's not what you're familiar to create that healthy boundary, right? But I think that is why we start seeing different results, because we do something that is so uncomfortable, that is so unfamiliar, that we think, or that is a reality, that others around us might say, like, what are you doing? Or they might make us feel shame or judge us or make us feel guilty. They do, usually, at the first stage, like when you're first doing it. So that's why I always say, when you're making changes in your life, like, just like keep it to yourself and just move. Like, don't talk about it. Just do it. Do it in silence. Just keep on doing it every single day, because it's not a linear journey. Just keep on doing it. And what's interesting is that in that, let's say, dynamic, when you are creating that boundary again, like when you need to do it again, let's say, I don't know, in 6 months, in a year, whatever, like there is no time frame to this. It might change, like it might differ from situation to situation. But after you start implementing this, the healthy boundary, you are like certain about it now that you should do it. Because you've done it, it's not going to be challenging later. It's going to be so natural, and your fear of rejection is going to be gone. But you might be challenged in a different story with someone else in your family again. I'm talking from my own story, and that story is going to be different. Of course, that's how this subtitle narcissistic behavior works. It has to be different. It has to seem like it's coming from a loving place. It has to seem like, oh, it's okay. Like, that's fine. Let's just keep on pushing to make this relationship better. But that's not the case. Of course, with practice, it becomes easier, but some things are so hidden, and it's been going on for such a long time, for decades, that moment that you show up and say, like, this is not healthy. I don't care what others think around me. I don't effing care. I'm going to create this healthy boundary and I'm going to like continue creating my life. Like I'm going to keep on in my path and I'm not going to be exposed to this absurdity because it's absurd. Like it's unacceptable, but it's acceptable maybe in my family dynamics, which is like crazy. But I think like this step 3 is life is about the process. I think it, like there are different things I want to talk about this, but I think because you start showing up differently for your life and you are not anymore exposing yourself to that BS, that's why you feel more confident, you feel fulfilled, you feel the self-love you have for yourself, like you're proving to yourself that you love yourself because you're acting from that place. And I think that's what gets you the results. Like, yes, eventually when you think logically, you know, I gave all of myself to one thing and I've started seeing the results, but it was not like the journey itself is so delicious. Like, although it was super challenging, at the same time, because I was doing it from my own authentic space, from my authentic self, I felt the energy. I had the energy to do it all over again every single day, no matter how tired I was, frustrated, disappointed, whatever. I just kept on going. And I knew that like I'm living life now. Like this is it. And I get to do everything I'm doing, even the stuff that maybe I'm not that great about yet, blah, 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 like whatever it is. But I get to do it my way now. Like this is my way. This is all of me. This is where I started learning and implementing and being myself and creating different connections and showing up for my life as myself without being exposed or without someone stealing energy away from me in the name of love. Like, of course, there are going to be moments where you feel whatever, you know, in your life journey. And it doesn't have to be like those specific people. Like it can be anyone, anything. But you just keep going and get back to your path easily, faster. And I think just remembering that life is about the process and not the results, because when you look back, this is like so interesting. I believe that, like, I know that, like, you know, I have this vision in my heart, in my soul, like, and I know that you have a vision for your life as well. And it can be just a feeling. It can be just 1 second scene from your future life. It can be like a photo. It can be an image. It can be a scene. You might be seeing yourself from outside or from that experience. I think that when you are in that place that you have actually created and fully in the life that gives you so much fulfillment, I think what will give you the most joy in those moments, what will bring tears to your eyes with gratitude, is going to be the moments that you are in now or you will be very soon. The moments that you chose yourself for the first time, although it was so unfamiliar, it was so uncomfortable, it was so challenging, but you kept on going. And I hope I'm telling you what I want to tell you. But that moment itself, I would do just an episode just on this, but that moment that you choose yourself, and keep on doing it your way and fully show up no matter what, like with perseverance, persistence, courage, and clarity. I think those are the moments. Like when you're in the moment, it feels so freaking not just uncomfortable, like all the things. Like it can be frustrating or not confusing, but frustrating. I don't know, tiring, challenging, difficult, whatever. But because you are in the process, like you're not going to give up in that state anymore. Like you're not giving up. You just keep on persisting no matter what. And I think when you get to your fulfilling life, like it's not an end all be all, of course, but you start actually, you have created the safe, the nurturance, the love, the joy, the peace, the community, whatever it is. And you are in that. You're still doing so many things, but you're in it. You've started seeing the results, the actual results. You are in your path. I think, and maybe you're getting the incredible results even in that time. I think what will give you the most joy is knowing that you chose yourself when it was so challenging and when courage was necessary. Not things being smooth or not people around you confirming to you you are on the right path or, all the stuff. But you chose yourself. Although it was so unfamiliar, but in your gut now, like, this is it. Like, I'm not going to accommodate this anymore because it does not take me anywhere. And the people who does this to me, they will never be worried about me not self-actualizing. And, it can look like something like they do it in a way, all the narcissistic things that we talk about in the podcast, like it doesn't look like they're doing something bad towards you or unloving, but it's like when you study this and like when you create the clarity, it's like obvious that they're being narcissistic towards you and they're actually creating things that keep you stuck or make you shrink or make you feel disempowered and all that bullshit. Like they'd be happy if you just settle down, play small, be average, whatever. They'd be happy. Like they wouldn't be worried. But when you start actually fully showing up for your life, that's when sometimes things get trickier. But that's like the next step. The first step is like seeing clearly what had been going on. So I hope I'm not like, I hope I'm making sense. I'm sure I am in some way. But this is what I wanted to remind you. Step 3 is remembering all along the way, because it's not going to be a linear path, and thank God it's not, because that's like what keeps it so beautiful. At the end of the day, that's what gives you fulfillment. Step 3 is life is about the process. Always. Always. That process is what makes you feel fulfilled with the results. That process is what makes you happy with the results, makes you feel fulfilled with the results, makes you feel the wholeness, the deliciousness of the result, because you know how you chose yourself, how you were being persistent and persevering in the process. You know that. You know your journey. You know how, no matter how challenging it was very challenging.
but you kept on going every single day. You chose yourself. You did not give up. Like, you did not get back to the old patterns. It's not just like pushing through. It's not just taking actions. It's choosing yourself and living life from that place. Choosing yourself, creating those healthy boundaries, being certain about it. No matter like how confusing it might get, you come back to it and you create the clarity and you keep on going. Well, I'll leave you to this because I might just keep on talking about this and not make sense, but I hope I made sense. I hope this gave you some kind of encouragement, clarity on something that you might be going through, just inspired you to have a solution, or maybe most importantly, gave you confirmation for something that you deep down know, because that keeps us in the journey, in the process, and be persistent about it. I love you so much. I'll see you next week with step 4. My gorgeous listener, if you had any takeaways from this episode or from this podcast in general, I would love to know. Please share this episode with a few loved ones right now. You never know how they can benefit from something so small. And please take a screenshot of this episode and share on IG, tagging me at Khewela. That is Khewella. Khewela. That is my goddess wear brand, my Instagram page. I would love to know what your takeaway was, or something you found inspirational, or a confirmation you believe in as well. That would make my day. And you can always DM me if you have a topic or a certain question in mind that you want me to talk about. And give me a 5-star rating if you feel like it. That would help this podcast immensely to get the word out. I love you. See you on the next one. I want to see you shine your brightest.